Thank you very much,
You're on,
Dennis. Thanks, Chancellor Van Horn, Bob Gore, Linda Thomas, and Gabe Yautze for this really wonderful opportunity to be here. I had not realized that all of this is underway here. It is exciting and extremely important, and I'm very grateful to be part of this today. And Davina, my daughter is a fourth-year medical student down at UC San Diego, and after being there for 4 years, she really wants to come back here if it can work out there, but we'll see. I'm going to take a little bit of a personal approach this morning here, in my part as a panelist here. I started out in the West Side back in 1981 when I came back from the Peace Corps in Africa. I was a student at Fresno State for a while, and I went at Davis to get my master's and PhD degrees. I did both my research projects at the West Side Research and Extension Center. So I've been here. This has been a huge part of my life. I greatly respect and love the people of this region and the region itself. And what we're talking about matters, and you don't need me to tell you that, but it is a huge part of many of our lives here. I'm just going to show you quickly here some of the farmers that I've talked with recently in preparation for this morning. They actually hosted a field tour we took with UC Davis students 2 Saturdays on the 28th of October. We've got Jesse Sanchez right here with the students in Firebaugh. John Diener down in 5 Points. This is over in Burrell, the small little town of Burrell. Andy Rowland and the dairy over there. And lastly, Kevin Collins of Borba Farms in Riverdale here. Tremendous value to the students. The innovation, the historical productivity of this region, we all know is unsurpassed. And it continues today in good measure here. But it's because of these kinds of inspirational pioneers here. And it has an effect beyond just the region, obviously, because there's now another generation, 50 new students who never would have had the opportunity to learn what's going on out here had they not had the chance to meet these people. Broadband is not, Davina, it's not my strength either. It's not what I usually talk about in terms of presentations like this. I did do, and in preparation for this morning, and I called up and emailed about 12 farmers that I have had the good fortune of knowing since I started in my position with the university in 1994. We had a large-scale on-farm demonstration project with 14 farmers in the 5 Points area, and dare I say they're my friends, they're tremendous colleagues ever since, and it's been a great resource that I called on. So I want to just share here. Unanimously, they're very much obviously in support of the Rural Broadband Initiative, and they're behind it in many, many ways. First of all, from a farm efficiency, competitiveness, access to technology, improved farm management, decision-making, and resource use, it's needed. It's absolutely essential. They gave me numerous examples, everything from human resources, avoiding redundancy at the farm scale by just, handwriting notes and everything about personnel records, this kind of stuff. People are thinking about this. They could do a much better job even at personnel issues. But then all the sensor-based management tools that are now becoming more and more available, they're requiring large data sets, and that's where the broadband support makes sense here. It's very expensive, as has been pointed out earlier, to use cellular means for storing and using data, and eventually these would be better served going to the cloud, and they would permit the ability for farmers and people here to mine data and find connections or trends that aren't readily or immediately apparent in what they see just on paper. And there's also one of the farmers, and it was another one in Los Banos that we also visited with the students on the tour there. He's actually the vice president of his farm for technology. And he was telling the students, I don't think I have that, yeah, I do have this, right in his office here. We all were sitting on the floor because we didn't have enough chairs there. There were 50 students in the class. And he was telling us about how so many sensor-based technologies are now available that what their farm is finding they have to do is every 4 months, they meet with 4 other farms throughout California, And they're coming together to sort of sort out all the clutter and make decisions and figure out what kinds of appropriate technology really are going to have good sense for an individual site. So they're really trying to get down that road of improved management overall. The words of one person, quote, having broadband internet would tremendously simplify the processing pipeline, offloading computationally extensive tasks to servers in the cloud. Everything from human resources to water, to inputs, to pest management, to yield, variable rate management, and drone application. The sky's really the limit here. All right, and again, we're all on the same page, we all understand this. But then again, there's the human side of all of this as well. And let me talk a little bit about that as well there. In this regard, one farmer pointed out there's also a very big need. Imagine you're the 13 or 14-year-old student trying to do an internet-based assignment and you're using dial-up. Imagine the folks that are out here in this region having to drive long distances just to go to the grocery store with the new increased state gas tax, the distances they drive in remote communities. The world, in a lot of ways, this farmer was saying, is literally passing them by. They need more options. This summer, I'm doing a project with Fresno State, with UC Davis, Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and also Chico State. All of the 5 universities that we teach vegetable crops classes. I teach every fall at Davis in addition to my extension work. And we're trying to do a series of production videos for the students. And I was out on a garlic field just by 5 Points, and they took a break there, and the harvester stopped, and I got on the harvester because I was going to try to get ready to film what was going to happen next there. And there was a young woman, and she was working on the harvester, and all of a sudden she didn't know who I was. She saw me, from, maybe she saw my car. Now that I think about this, she said, I want to go to UC Davis. It was amazing. She was working about as hard as you can on a dusty old garlic harvester, but she had the dream that she wanted to go to UC Davis. And that's the kind of inspiration that's very important. Another farmer pointed out, and again, these kind of statistics, we're all probably familiar with these, but California has apparently about 12% of the US population, but a third of the number of welfare recipients of our nation. And we know that right here because of a lot of employment insecurity right here. I imagine many of you here, have you seen this, the Measure of America series, and they provide sociological studies of different regions. The California one, and what our region here in Fresno County, western Fresno County, is called the Forsaken 5%. And if I can read this here, bypassed by the digital economy, left behind in impoverished Los Angeles neighborhoods, as well as in rural and urban areas of the San Joaquin Valley, these Californians face an extremely constrained range of opportunities and choices. With that, a small final note here. I was recently, after the field trip, and the students saw a little bit about the production environment down here in the west side. I happened to be using my telephone. It's called Periscope, a live streaming app. And I was just the other day I was driving by 5 Points, and I thought, there's something interesting. Why don't I do a little video for the students there? And those are the kind of opportunities that just spur of the moment can have value and educational importance in a lot of ways there. So I'll end with that and say I am very much in support here, and I would like you to count on me down the road if there's anything that I can possibly do, because this is important. Thank you very much.